You're not going to believe this cake. It's absolutely incredible, absolutely fantastic. It's going to be made with pears and it's completely vegan. No butter, no eggs in this cake, and there's a couple of small little surprises along the way which I'll show you. So first thing I've got 7 pears in this pan. I've got the last one here that I'm going to show you how to prepare. So it's been peeled down, and all I'm going to do is just take the end off so it can sit up nice and proud like that, and then I'm just going to chop the last little bits of trim off the ends, and that's going to add a really nice moistness back into the cake. So into the pan with the pears, I've got some cinnamon sticks, just 2, and a star anise. Just on the bottom of the pear, I'm just going to, and you can use a small teaspoon for this, or an melon baller or something like that, absolutely fine. I'm just going to take out the pips there, just like that, and that goes in with the rest of the pears. Now to cook them, I'm going to use a really, really special liquid. This is kombucha. It's basically a fermented tea, and because it's fermented, what that means is all of the bacteria in there has become active. It creates this fantastic fizz. It's a really delicious drink, and it promotes a healthy gut and really great digestion. So I'm just going to go straight into the pan with around 825 mils of kombucha, which is about 3 bottles. And you can find this in all good supermarkets or health food stores now in the drinks aisle. And it's a really, really delicious, delicious drink. So into that, got a little bit of caster sugar just for the sweetness, just into there as well. And I'm also going to go in with the zest of 1 orange and 1 lemon. And that all just goes straight in there. And then we're just going to put it onto a medium high heat, and that is going to cook now for 15 minutes. Okay? So whilst we're doing that, at the same time, I'm going to make the base for our sponge cake. So this is really different, okay? I've got 2 tablespoons of linseed here. And again, linseed's really, really fantastic and part of a low GI diet. It's really great. There's many nuts and seeds, high in protein, really, really good for you. So that's going to go straight into the pan there. I'm also going to add in 250 grams of pitted chopped dates. Okay, so that's going to add a nice sweetness, a nice body. It's really natural from the dried fruits with all of their natural sugars. Sometimes dried fruits can be a little bit hard to digest. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cook them off, and they're going to be blended down, which is really going to help with the digestion. All of those pears, all of the bottoms that we took off these pears that I've chopped through, I'm going to add those in as well. And again, this is all just adding nice layers of flavour, and it's going to make for a delicious soft cake. All of that is going to be cooked off just for a few minutes in some of this roasted, unsweetened almond milk. It's really important that you get unsweetened because you've got the natural sweetness of the dates, and we've also got some sugar in the recipe as well. So I'm just going to put that all straight in, and that's going to cook just for a few minutes, about 5 minutes or so, just until the dates soften. We'll get that straight into the blender, okay, and that's going to form the base for our lovely sponge cake recipe. So the linseed and date mixture has had time about 5 minutes now to cook down, and it's really gone soft. The dates have broken down, the pears are starting to break down, and the mixture is ready to blend. So we just take all of that, go straight into the blender, and we're just going to blitz it through. Right, so instead of butter, I've got more of this amazing stuff, the cold pressed extra virgin rapeseed oil. I'm going to add all of that straight into our cake mixture there and give it another quick blitz through. So that's had about 30 seconds of blending there. So we've had into that we've had the linseeds, we've got the chopped dates, we've got all of that fantastic rapeseed oil in there, and all of the roasted almond milk as well. And that's created a fantastic, really flavourful base to our sponge mix. Now, let's get on to the dry stuff. So, we've got muscovado sugar here. That gives a really fantastic nutty flavour to any sweets that you add it to. It's almost bitter. I really love this sugar. It's a little bit stickier, so you just got to crumble it through in your fingers a little bit. I've also got spelt flour. Now, for people who don't avoid gluten, this is an ancient grain, which is absolutely fantastic. Again, puts part of your digestion. It really is a fantastic, fantastic flour. Cocoa powder. I've got 40 grams here of dark cocoa powder. And I've got a teaspoon of mixed spice and a teaspoon of clove, as well as 1 of baking powder and 1 of baking soda. So just across that, I've got 175 of muscovado, I've got 160 of the spelt flour, I've got 40 grams of cocoa and a teaspoon each of bicarbonate of soda, baking powder, mixed spice and ground cloves. All of that is going to go straight into my mixing bowl here, and I'm just going to mix it all lightly together with my fingers and break up some of the clumps of muscovado sugar and blend everything together. So I've got all of the dry ingredients nicely mixed together, as you can see. All of the lumps I've taken out of there now, and you've got this fantastic spiced flour cocoa mixture which is ready for our wet ingredients. So in with that, and you can see how smooth and soft it is there. It's really thick. It's going to add a wonderful, wonderful texture to this cake. So I'm just going to spoon that all out, and we're just going to mix that all in to make a really delicious cake batter. Don't kid yourself, you know, this has got sugar in it. However, this is almost good for you. So, cake batter, we've got that pretty much mixed together there. Last little bits just fold into it all. It smells delicious. So, we've got that ready to go. What I'm going to do next is just put across a cake tin that I've got lined with baking paper here, greaseproof paper. Now, I've left a little bit on the edge so that when this is cooked later, we'll be able to pick it out nice and easily. So, all I'm going to do is take a little bit of that rapeseed oil just into there, and I'm just going to grease the bottom of the tin and a little bit up the sides, just to help it not to stick. There we go. And then I'm going to pull our pears across here, and I'm going to grab each pear out nice and gently and delicately, and we're just going to sit them upright in the pan, and they're nice and tender, but they haven't overstewed or poached. They're still holding their shape, so they're going to carry on cooking in the cake batter. So nice and gently, we're going to lay them all out in here, and then we're going to take our batter and pour it all over. So I've got all the pears nicely arranged in the baking tray there. We've kept the syrup there as well. So what we're going to do is reduce all of that syrup right down and make a sticky glaze that we're going to pour all over the cake right at the end. So last thing that we're going to do is just take this fantastic cake batter and just pour it down in and around this cake tin here. And we're just going to spoon it in, get the last of it. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Someone's going to want to lick out this bowl. So, get all that cake mixture nicely tucked into the tray just around the pears. Make sure you go all the way to the edges so that you don't get pears on the outside. You get cake all the way around each pear. So last bit of the batter, just spread evenly around like that. Absolutely perfect. I've got an oven preheated at 180 degrees and we're going to whack that in there for about 40 minutes or so, or until a skewer comes out clean. Okay, so we're just going to do that now. Straight in. And that's it. So the nuts are cooling down, the almonds are cooling down just to one side. I've got the coconut cream in the fridge. Last thing for the dessert, let's check this cake. That looks incredible. So, just feeling on top, it feels nice and cooked. I'm just going to check the skewer just to see that it comes out clean, which it has. So, I'm just going to pull this to one side, and now you'll see why we left this paper. We're just going to pick it up and quickly move it across onto our board. Now, with the skewer, we're just going to poke a few holes into the top. And then what we're going to do is take this syrup here, which has got all of that wonderful citrusy, cinnamony, spiced flavour. I'm just going to take a couple of spoons of that and just drizzle it all over. And as this cake cools down, it's going to absorb all of that syrup into it. It's going to just take everything in. It's absolutely wonderful, absolutely delicious. Really special, really different, celebratory, Christmassy, but with a twist. So, we've got our cake here out of the oven. It's soaked up all of the wonderful citrusy spice syrup. I've got the candied nuts on top. We've got the wonderful flavours of the dates, of the roasted almond milk, the linseeds, everything going through it, the cocoa. All we're going to do now, finish it off, a little bit of the whipped coconut cream on the side, and you're ready to go. So I'll just grab that out the fridge, keep it nice and cold, and we're just going to scoop that into a nice little bowl, just put on the sides. And there we have it, a fantastic pear and date cake with candied almonds and whipped coconut cream.